Well, I may have a little echo here. Anyway, let's see if this works. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to First and Ted. An idea. Hold on, give me 1 sec.
Yeah, no problem.
Got my little guy coughing in the background too. This is great. And audio.
Bear with us, everyone. He's not on home location here. He's dealing with some technical issues. So
All right.
what's going on, chat?
Okay, I think I got it here. I'm going to the hardwired headphones here. See if that makes a difference.
Were you hearing us in your headphones like delayed?
I was hearing myself. Yeah, delayed. And then I tried muting you to see if that would kill it. And you were already muted from being on the intro. And anyway, thanks everybody for joining. It's First and Ted weekly edition, 3:30s on Wednesdays Pacific time, 6:30 Eastern, with my co-host Aaron Labigan. Excited to chop it up here with you a little bit today regarding Commanders game and obviously the upcoming Raiders game and lots of all the Niners news that's going on this week. Got some exciting stuff to chat about. I wanted to call out from our chat. We got Raphael 562, Cowboy Angel came early. Hopefully they'll be back, and Brian Culp was about 10 minutes early too. So thanks everybody for showing up to the chat. We appreciate you.
Definitely.
And if you like what you see, please be sure and hit the like button and the subscribe button, both for me and for Aaron at 49ers First Takes. We appreciate everyone's support. Raphael likes the background. Thank you. Yeah, I'm on vacation, so I don't have my usual sort of studio background here. It's just like a little palm tree behind me in the corner of a room. So I figured a virtual background might be better. But yeah, it's the CMC catch from the Rams week 4, the game where he had the TD catch, the TD throw, and the TD run, the triple threat, the hat trick, if you will. So, Aaron, should we chat a little bit about the game? Obviously, a big win over the Commanders. We won 37-20. What were your thoughts on the game?
I thought the game played a little bit like a lot of us thought. Commanders had good defense, and early on they were aggressive, and Purdy struggled a little bit to find a rhythm, and the Niners' offense was a little herky jerky. But second half, the Niners turned it on. Purdy adjusted, which everybody was kind of saying, okay, this is going to be the game where things are going to go awry, and we're going to see him for what he really is. And a lot of us, including myself, were like, maybe people are right. Maybe he finally, kind of comes back down to reality, and he played as well as he could. He played fantastic. Big touchdown to Kittle. The post that was actually supposed to go to Ray, but Kittle grabbed it instead. Great throw. The rollout to the left to throw the first touchdown to Kittle was another, second reaction play. The guy can move out of the pocket. He can make things happen. If the initial thing is not, the initial read isn't there. And to me, I really wasn't worried about the offense at any point in that game. The defense was a little shaky. I got to say, they looked. The pass rush when Bosa's not kind of on it, it seems like at least lately, they've been a little bit suspect with getting pressure consistently. People say, well, it's not about the sacks, it's about the pressure. Well, they don't always get a ton of pressure if Bosa's not kind of disrupting things. So that is something I am concerned about going forward. Hopefully they can kind of make it kind of a priority to get more heat on the quarterback. And then the back end, I don't know how much of it was bad coverage and how much of it was just that they had time to have plays develop. There were some big completions in the game. And but I guess we're so expecting this team to be perfect and not make any mistakes and the defense to be like this flawless gem because they get built up so much by the broadcaster that's talking about the game. That, they're human and they make mistakes. I mean, I got a Hufanga jersey. But Hufanga's had some a lot of ups and downs lately. So, uh, nothing's perfect, but they found a way to win that game. They've won games in so many different ways this year. This was a game where they were supposed to finally meet their match defensively, and they put up 37 points on them. Could have been more if they didn't settle for field goals. So I was pretty happy.
Yeah, I was pretty happy too. I was excited to see us play a team with a really good defense and see how we did against them. Um, I will say though that as good as the Commanders' defense is on paper, they were like a lot of teams we faced recently. They were missing some key guys. Cam Curl, their sort of stud safety, didn't suit up for the game, and Benjamin St. Just, their pretty good corner, at least corner two, if not corner one, went out early. He was questionable during the sprained ankle, and I saw him leave the game pretty early. So, I mean, they're still a really good defense, probably the best one we faced with Brock Purdy, and we still scored 37. And Brock still had the two TDs to Kittle and played really well. But I would caution people who are saying like, oh, it's he's arrived or he's him or anything like that. I love Brock Purdy. I'm super happy with him. I think he's better than Jimmy G. I'm just I mean, I guess I have to say I'm still waiting a little bit longer before I say that that he's like that like Lance is going to have trouble winning his job back or anything like some people are saying. Um, and there's been a little bit of that going around, but there were a lot of twos in this game, and I sent you some of these over, but you know, Kittle had two touchdowns for the second week in a row. Um, he had two in Seattle and then two against the Commanders. And then there were some others, but do we want to talk about that first or
Yeah.
whichever of the twos? I just added another one. You brought up Hufanga, and he gave up two Ds. There were two, in my opinion, two botched fourth and shorts, where Kyle made, in my opinion, bad decisions on fourth and short twice during the game. Once when it was 0-0, once when it was 27-14. There were two rushing TDs by the McLeod and McCaffrey each had a rushing TD, and then obviously the two Bosa fumbles, which actually there were three Bosa, or not fumbles, two Bosa sacks, pardon me, and there was actually a third sack on a 2-point conversion, which sadly doesn't count towards game totals or season
I was
totals.
saying that
But
when I was watching the game at the end. I'm like, damn, I wish those counted.
yeah, no doubt. I tweeted it. It was funny. I don't know if you saw my article, but I tweeted it out, and then the announcers announced it shortly thereafter. And somebody DM'd me, and they said, "How is your feed ahead of mine?" Because they were on cable or whatever the fastest feed is. And I said, "My feed isn't ahead of yours. I'm just ahead of the announcers." I just said it before they did, because I remember something like that happened with Kittle with his 2-point conversion against, oddly enough, Carson Wentz that time too. It was against the Eagles in 2020, and it was like he dropped the 2-point conversion or something, and they're like, "Oh, that won't count against his drop streak because it happened on a 2-point conversion attempt, which is basically like its own separate category. It doesn't count towards, win streaks, lose streaks, catches, drops, anything like that for the season. Sacks in this case."
Right. The whole thing with Kittle, I said this on the NWO stream on Monday with the guys. I said that I thought he had lost a step. I know Grant had talked about it early in the season, and there's talk like even Grant brought it up, like, would you trade him if you could get something for him? And I didn't necessarily think he was done. I just, he seemed slow and just not being part of any type of constant uh, game plan where he just was getting the ball or getting fed. And I didn't realize how much quarterback play affects when some people get hot and when some people don't. And Kittle, his whole resurgence has been made by the difference at quarterback. I just think that because Purdy can move and Purdy can extend plays, And the fact that Purdy reads defenses really well, he has that experience of being able to go through his progressions, which is something you thought Jimmy would be able to do really good, being that he has been in the league as many years. But some people, even when they're in the league a long time, they're still not really great at reading coverages. And Purdy's just a really heady guy. You know, he doesn't have a lot of other stuff going on for him, size, arm strength, and all that. But um, he plays with a certain bit of like slow motion. It's kind of weird. It's hard to explain. Now the pass protection has been pretty well for him. I got to say, he's had some pretty good protection. I mean, he's taken some shots, but he just it's like Kittle's been revitalized the next last 2 weeks, and I don't know if it's what the defenses are doing to other players, or if he's just throwing who's open, or maybe it's a combination of him being able to scramble. But I called Kittle like pretty much he was done, you know, and he had no longer, you know, not
I
saying he
remember
was like,
you
yeah, it was
tweeted about
very.
it.
I called him Mr. Glass, and you know, maybe we should trade for somebody. And I have no problem being wrong on the Kittle front. Hopefully it continues because I think Kittle is a huge part of when we have games where we can kind of get away from people and dominate. Kittle seems to have strong games. And Kittle is such a he's such a magnet for positivity and happiness. So when he's doing well, he exudes a lot of that excitement, and other players get it, and then it's just it kind of it goes through the whole team. So pretty stoked that I was wrong about Kittle because you know, with Debo being out and you know, Ayuk not always, you know, getting the ball for whatever reason, to see him step up and not just be the Christian McCaffrey show for a change, it was nice. So definitely was great to see, and hopefully he has another 2 touchdown game coming up.
Hey, I love it. No doubt about it. Yeah, I remember you tweeted about it. And I don't know if I said it to you directly, but I know I've said it a lot to people who had said that, maybe George had lost a step or, that he was injury prone or whatever, which was, I've always just maintained that he just needs a real QB to throw to him, with Hoyer, with CJ Beathard, with Mullins. Jimmy G is a good, maybe below average quarterback, but, someone who could hit him deep was what I really felt like Kittle needed to unlock him. And also the injuries too. 3 out of the last 5 injuries came on high throws. There was the one that Jimmy threw high in Arizona, week 1 of 2020, where Buddha hit him low. And then there was the one where Mullins threw high in Seattle in 2020, also in Seattle. And then where Kittle broke his foot. And then there was the one where Jimmy threw high versus Seattle in 2021 at Levi's. I was there, and Kittle nearly got creamed by a Seattle linebacker who went low on him as he was coming down to the ground. He literally waited for Kittle's leg to be back on the ground. Then he went at his leg once it was planted so that he could get maximum effect. A really dirty play. And then, so that's 3 out of the last 5 Kittle injuries. And then the fifth one, the groin, happened in preseason. So it wasn't televised. We don't really know how that one happened. So it really could have been 4 out of the 5 most recent injuries by Kittle were all by hospital balls, if you will,
Yeah,
high balls thrown by Jimmy, Mullins. And I guess if it did happen as a high ball in preseason, it probably was Lance who probably threw it. But nonetheless, I absolve him from some of the blame, or I mean, not that he should ever be blamed for being injured anyway, but I blame the quarterbacks more than Kittle on a lot of those. I think the only thing I blame Kittle for is like, hey, it's a high ball, like just let go, man. Just let it go. Live to fight another down. You don't have to but that's just the way Kittle is. He's going to go, balls to the wall every time, and even if it means putting his body at risk, he's going to do everything he can to make every single play he gets an opportunity to make.
and he never blames the quarterback, even when he has a right to, which is always
No,
something about him that he never throws anybody under the bus. He always takes accountability. It's like, yeah, for one time, maybe throw the quarterback under the bus.
No, and that's what we're here for. We'll go to bat for Kittle and
Right.
make sure to keep his name clear, no doubt about it. Then, as far as defense goes, as you mentioned, they were a little bit suspect on the secondary. Got roasted a little bit. Um, And then, later in the game, they really turned it on when it was, because really it was a close game for most of the game. At one point, it was, 21-14 late in the game. And then there were the string of turnovers where, Bosa had the strip sack that got recovered. Eric Armstead had the pressure that led to the Jimmy Ward interception. And those were the two big turnovers of the game. And that's when things started to get blown kind of wide open. But other than that, up till that point in the game, it was just what I expected, which was a defensive struggle and a low scoring game.
Yeah, and watching the defense, like I said, in a lot of those plays, it was just the quarterback had a ton of time. It wasn't necessarily that the guys are wide open. It was plays that were allowed to develop, especially deep shots. Deep shots, if you have good pressure, won't develop because the quarterback will have to either dirt ball it or underthrow it or throw it out of bounds. A couple of those deep shots, he had time to plant his feet, step up, and hitch and do all that stuff. I really think a lot of the coverage issues we had, for the most part, I mean, guys don't always play great coverage. I mean, Jimmy Ward on that touchdown and that slot touchdown, he had no chance on that touchdown. Just the way that the receiver ran that route. I don't care who you are, unless you're able to kind of like move faster than the other guy to cut in front of that. It was just the angle of Jimmy Ward's coverage and the way that route was ran. It was pretty much uncoverable. But I just think that a lot of it had to do with the pass rush. I would like I said, Armstead's been really good. Kinlaw's not really a pass rusher. They haven't gotten consistent pressure lately. If it's not Bosa, I don't really see anybody else. Guys have been nicked up too, though, so you have to kind of look at it like maybe guys are preserving their bodies for the playoffs, maybe not going totally crazy, because Bosa always gives maximum effort. I can't say that about everybody else if they're giving maximum effort every play, but Bosa was amazing. As usual, 17 and a half sacks, 2 games to go. He's going for the 19 and a half. He said he's not worried about the all-time. That's kind of far away. But he is kind of going for Alvin's numbers. So it'd be interesting to see if he actually gets it.
I sure hope so. Love to see him sack Carr a couple times there in Vegas this Sunday.
It won't be Carr,
on New
though.
Year's Day. Oh, is Carr out now?
It's Jarrett
did they
Stidham. They benched him for the last 2 games.
Oh my gosh. And then there was talk about cutting him to save $5 million against next year's cap or something like that too.
Somebody says to get ready. The Colts are going to sign him next year. Another quarterback that's, S the bed, so to speak, and washed. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm sure if Harbaugh ends up there, he'll figure something else better for them than that. That's been some interesting talk too about Harbaugh maybe going to the Colts, maybe going to the Cards.
That would suck if he went to the Cards. Go to the Colts, please.
That's what I said. I was like, please don't go to the Cards.
Because the Cards have players in some.
They do.
The Rams are a mess, and Seattle, I think, I know we're not really, these aren't topics, but like Seattle's going to have 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks on top of their own first-rounders, I think. And like, they're going to rebuild that whole squad again.
Yeah. No, I have no doubts.
And don't be surprised, I don't know who, that's the quarterback is still the main issue with Seattle. I know what's his name had a good year.
Geno Smith,
but he's not the answer. I mean, you put him against a good defense, and he's all done. So
I think Raphael was saying probably headed to the Panthers for Harbaugh. Interesting.
Yeah, that's okay. As long as he's not within our division, I don't care.
Yeah, same with me.
Yeah, don't come in our division because he will have you can say what you want, but there will be a definite on his. He'll have some sort of subliminal motivation for his team to kick our ass. So
no doubt about it. Yeah, no, Harbaugh's a good coach. I think if he had had a good GM here instead of Trent Baalke, it could have been a whole different experience. I do think the locker room turned on him a little bit, but part of that was because of attrition in the locker room and letting good guys walk and drafting people with ACLs. So yeah, not a big fan.
The one thing you do with a GM is, if you want to elongate a Super Bowl window, which the 49ers are trying to do, you have to have great drafts, because if you have good players, they're going to get resigned. So it's not like you're going to have a ton of cap money. And with Kaepernick, they had that because he was going to be, the young quarterback on a low deal. And but their drafting, Belky's drafting was atrocious. I mean, could you name anybody out of those drafts other than Jimmy Ward and maybe I think Ward, Jaquiski Tart, and DeForest Buckner? I don't know if they were all Belky guys, but that was pretty much
and
it.
Armstead, yeah.
Yep. So
there was like that core 4, but the rest were trash.
They were horrible. That whole team got gutted. Like that was bad.
Well,
that was some horrible football.
Well, it's funny when you talk about the team that Harbaugh took over in 2011, the roster from 2010 that he took over versus the roster that Shanahan took over in 2017 and how different they were. And, like in 2016, we were 2-14, dumpster fire. Pretty much, I used to say devoid of talent, other than those 4 people we just mentioned. But out of 53 men, that's not a lot of talent. And it was interesting because there actually was quite a bit of crossover between the 2 rosters. It's just that by the time Shanahan got them, they were all washed and, just about to fall out of the league compared to when Harbaugh got them. They were young and fresh and ready to still kick some butt.
At the end of Bowman, he was never the same after the massive knee injury. And then everybody, that after that one Super Bowl run, they retired after Harbaugh left. It was like Justin Smith, this, that, and the other. Aldon Smith had his issues. I mean, everybody was gone. That team went from being super talented to just like, and then they lost that one linebacker that we thought was going to be the replacement to Patrick Willis, who played one season and then retired. I forget his name. He played really good in spot when Willis retired, and then he just suddenly retired because of concerns with concussions. So I forget his name though. Chad, if you know. Borland. Thank you, Brian Culp. Chris Borland.
Yeah, Chris Borland. Then there was also some linemen too who were, good back for Harbaugh, and by the time they got to be with Shanahan, they were just over the hill and washed.
Yeah, like Yapati left. He had
Yapati left, and there was a guard I remember who was pretty solid. I wouldn't say great, but solid, and then just fell off. And anyway, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I hope he stays out of our division, but if he's got a real chip on his shoulder for the Niners, that might be extra incentive for him.
Can he rebuild? Can he go into a situation where it's not ready-made to win? They just need a good coach, because Shanahan and Lynch came into a pretty much zero talent organization and took this thing, and now the Niners are probably top to bottom roster, the most talented team in the league. So,
no doubt about it. And Raphael was mentioning Bryant, was mentioning what about Denver? Yeah, that was one of the teams we mentioned initially. Cards, Denver, and
Carolina.
Well, no, there was a 4th team. Carolina was new. I hadn't heard that one mentioned. The Colts. Thank you. Yeah, that was the first one we talked about. Exactly.
Yeah. That'd be interesting.
So, yeah, no doubt about it. So, obviously just circle back to the Commanders game a little bit. Another big 2 was the 2 rushing TDs. I call them the mix, McCaffrey and so interested to hear your thoughts on that. I mean, sorry, I got my son here is waking up from his nap. I'll be right back. If you could talk for a second, Aaron, I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem. What is going on, everybody? How's everybody doing? Yeah, Ted's on vacation. I wasn't even sure he was going to stream tonight, to be honest with you guys, because of just having people there and him being in a different place. But Harbaugh to Denver. They're saying that it might be D'Amico's, the possibility of D'Amico going to Denver. A lot of us would rather him not, just because I don't think that's a situation that he would be given enough time to be able to find the team and players and all that to turn that thing around. I mean, they have talent, but they're stuck with a huge quarterback with a lot of cap money attached to him, who's not very good anymore. So
Awesome. Yeah, sorry I missed most of that. I was trying to tend to my son. My wife was here and decided to leave, and now he, of course, woke up. um, so let me see if I can get her back here. And as far as the next topic that we were going to chat about, um, there were a couple of, in my opinion, botched fourth and short attempts in the game. One was when it was 0-0 on the first drive. We had fourth and 7, and we got them to jump off sides and got to 4th and 2, and then Kyle punted the ball. And I might even be mixing up games now at this point. That might have been the Seattle Seahawks game, but there was a 4th and short on. Oh no, Kyle went for it on 4th down, and we didn't get it. And
that
and I
was
was
the
thinking,
play. That was the play. That was like a pitch
yeah, it was a
to
pitch to
Kyle
Juice,
Juszczyk.
and then he had the option to McCaffrey.
It looked like a broken play from the start.
Yeah,
It looked like a
he
play that was
he
broken.
waited too long to throw it to McCaffrey, and he got buried on the outside. And I just thought we should have gone for 3. It was a low scoring defensive battle. You take the points. I couldn't
Yes.
understand that.
Yes. Yeah, you got to take the points in that situation. Always take the points. Unless you're at the goal line or close to the end zone, then I say, hell, go for it. And and then if you don't, the offense has a really bad situation when they get the ball and they're pinned in their own end. But anything outside the goal line, you have to kick a field goal. It's weird. We asked Kyle Shanahan to be aggressive. And then when he is aggressive, we don't want him to be aggressive because we're like, damn it, we're in a defensive battle here. We need all the points we can get. So I'm always down for Shanahan going for it, but I don't know. It just with this team, it's I don't know. I can't put my finger on it or find the reason why we screwed up both of those. But in the end, it didn't really matter. We won by 17 points, but yeah, just for the future, make sure you have a play that actually works. And if you don't, kick a field goal.
No doubt about it. I was frustrated that they tried to get him to jump off sides first, and then burned a timeout, and then blew the play. So not only did we miss out on 3 points, we also lost a field goal. And yeah, I guess I'm one of those people because later in the game there was a 4th down, I think in 2. I remember the score was 27-14, and we kicked a field goal to go up 30-14. No, I guess it was 24-14, and we went up to go 27-14. And I was like, it's not even 2 full score lead. Why are we kicking a field goal here? We ended up getting bailed out. There was a turnover. It was either the strip sack or the interception came on the next drive. So it ended up working. Like you said, we ended up winning the game. But those were 2 4th down decisions. And it's funny, yeah, I was unhappy he went for it at first, and then I was unhappy he didn't go for it later. But ultimately, it did work out. So I appreciate, you know, my kind of duality on that of not, um, you know, not being consistent. It's like, oh yeah, we want him to go for it. We want him to go for it, and I do want Kyle to be more ballsy, but I guess only in situations where I say it's okay. I don't know. I guess it seems a little hypocritical to say that, but um, that was sort of how I felt during the game.
Yeah, as fans, we always have the viewpoint of outside the heat of the moment in the game, where everything is such an easy answer. What do you mean? Like, go for it, or shouldn't have gone for it. Like, listen, analytics sometimes go into a lot of what they do. I don't think people realize how much analytics, and they study situations, and they have some guy who's like there to tell them whether it's a good situation for them to go for it or this, that, and the other. So, um, I guess it would mean more if we lost, but the fact that we smacked them and we weren't even, I mean, we could have scored more touchdowns. That game could have been a lot farther apart in score than we saw. We could have scored into the 40s. So, but just it doesn't matter now, but it sets a bad precedent in the future if we're in a situation where it's a lot closer. Um, you're right. It's always you got to go for it when we say. That's how we feel. Don't go. We have all the answers. The coach doesn't know what the hell he's doing, but we're really nitpicking at this point in the season. The Niners have done a lot of things right. So, but yeah, let's get better at the fourth downs and in the future make the right call. And let's not try any double pitches on fourth down because that did not work at all. And even Ryan said it. Juice should have pitched it sooner, way sooner. He waited way too long.
No doubt about it. I just want to call out Gina in the audience saying hello, stopping to say hi and have a great show. Thank you. You already mentioned Ryan in the comments here. You should have pitched it sooner. That was my thought. Then Bryant Culp was asking, you think Russ Wilson is finished or do you think he can bounce back?
I don't know. I really
I
don't
think
know.
I think he
I
can
think he
bounce
could
back.
bounce. I think he could bounce back. I don't think he'll ever be what he was in Seattle, but I don't think that the offense that they were running and the quarterback that they had were a conducive um, pair. You have to run an offense that suits the needs and the strengths of the quarterback. But I don't even know if he can scramble as well as he can anymore. I mean, he's into his 30s now, so he's not a big guy. He's not tall. I mean, I went to where I go for my physical therapy. One of the physical therapists is a Broncos fan. And he was saying he thinks he can't read a defense. And he just was hidden by the fact that he could scramble around and play, parking lot football in Seattle. And now that he can't do that, he's being exposed. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I don't know how much of it is just attrition and age, but hopefully he gets an offensive coordinator that can work with him and get him to be at least a little bit more efficient than what we saw this year. But he's been dog water this year, bad. That's why Denver looks so bad this year because they put all their eggs in his basket and he did nothing for them. And they had players. They have players on that team. Cortland Sutton, what is it? Jerry Jeudy, good defense, good running game. I mean, they underperformed, and one of the main reasons was their quarterback. So we'll see. It's not our issue to worry about though, because he's in. I don't think we're going to be playing the AFC West for a while, so we don't have to worry about it.
Sorry, I got things acting up on my laptop here. It wasn't letting me unmute. So, yeah, no, I think Russ could rebound some. I think he'll do better than he did this year. I think you brought up a key point. He's not as mobile as he used to be. He was never a great on schedule quarterback, never like a first read type of quarterback. He was, like you said, sandlot, backyard, scramble, make something happen on the scramble drill, uh, beautiful deep balls, but not necessarily the guy you want on a quick slant or a timing play because he's not really able to see over the line of scrimmage that well with tall offensive linemen in his way. So yeah, I think he'll do better, but I don't think Denver will ever get what they paid for him in both picks, players, and also with that massive deal they gave him, the $250 million or $245 million. That was a big mistake, in my opinion. So interesting to see. That'll be interesting to see for sure. As far as some other twos from the game, Hufanga gave up 2 TDs, in my opinion. Did you think that was the case? With there was 2 scores by struggling to remember who they were that caught them, but
Dort,
there were
Jort, Mort. I don't know what his last name is. That one guy on the Commanders.
there was Dotson, I think, on
Yeah,
one.
Dotson. Yeah, not Dort.
Dotson,
Yeah,
and
back of the
then
end zone. Yep.
I want to say the McLaurin one too. Um, but definitely there were 2. And
Yeah, he's had some struggles lately. Again, if you watch a lot of those plays, the Niners couldn't get a lot of pressure. But yeah, he's been gambling lately and been losing. I don't know. He's a young player. Um, it's feast or famine sometimes with him. He can make a lot of aggressive plays, but to me, I think he just needs to get back to working on fundamental football coverage. The thing with guys like him, and the Cowboys have a guy like that too, and Diggs is they make the magnificent play, but sometimes the most basic fundamental play are the ones they struggle with, for because of their inability to kind of play within the moment. They're always trying to be, play that hero ball, cause the huge turnover, come in and blitz. I mean, if you're a safety and you blitz, you better hit that blitz. You better hit that quarterback. You better make that tackle. Because if you don't, you're leaving a massive void behind you. And then his pass coverage, I don't know. That was, his thing coming into the league was he didn't have great recovery speed going backwards, right? But he was really good coming forward. Teams have gotten a little bit of tape on him and they're starting to kind of adjust. So his job with the rest of this season and going into next season, and he's got to adjust to the adjustment and become a better player in the back end on standard, basic, every down plays. Still be aggressive, but I don't know. You just got to be better with it and time it better. A lot of people are saying, he was a bad Pro Bowl choice. I don't believe so. I thought he's played well for the majority of the season. He's just a young player that the league's gotten some tape on, and it's going to be up to him to make that adjustment. I still think he's better than Jaquiski Tartt. He's been better than him. I mean, Jaquiski Tartt is basically a guy that never took any chances and never got any turnovers, but it's not like he was setting the world on fire himself anyway. So I'm still big on Hufanga. Hell, I bought a jersey of him, so he better play well. But yeah, he struggled a little bit. What did you think? What's your biggest thing with him? Do you think he's just over trying to be the hero, or is it just fundamentally he's making mistakes, or is it just a lack of speed, or is it a combination of all three?
Yeah, I think he's a good player. I think at the early in the season, he flashed, and now he's kind of fallen back down to earth. I have no doubt that he will take strides again. He'll learn and get better. Yeah, and I'd even forgotten that he missed on that safety blitz too. So that was a third sort of strike for Huff during the game. But no, he's a great young player. I'd much rather have him than Tart, like you said. Uh, Tart, good solid tackler, but and good at limiting big plays. But I don't feel like he was any better in coverage, and certainly not better at making interceptions, getting turnovers. So um, I'm happy to have Huff. Pro Bowl, maybe a little bit extreme, but not based off the first half of the season, but maybe based off the second half. So we'll see what happens in the playoffs. That'll kind of be my deciding factor, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I
Um,
don't think he's going anywhere. Um,
no,
he'll be the starting safety next year. It's just a matter of if they keep Tyshawn Gibson or they go in a different direction. Maybe bring in a free agent. I mean, to me, I don't. It's hard to say. I mean, what would you do? Would you keep Gibson and try to go another year with them and maybe draft somebody to replace him eventually, or are you looking to take a third round pick and try to get a safety? And I mean, what would be the Niners' biggest? Because I mean, you're not keeping Jimmy Ward.
no, he'll
You,
be too expensive.
he'll be too expensive, and I think he wants to go somewhere where he can play just safety. He's being a good soldier. You could tell he didn't want to do it early in the season. Like there was games where he was playing corner. You just could tell that Jimmy Ward did not want to be out there on an island. But he's been a good soldier. But I mean, he's going to go somewhere where he can just play safety and not have to worry about covering quick slot guys. I think he's done pretty well. He didn't look too good in the beginning of the season, but I thought he's turned it on pretty well lately. But yeah, that's my other question. That's my real question. I know Tart's going to be here next year. Who's playing next to him? That's going to be the question. Um, it ain't going to be Travarius Moore. I hate to break people's hearts. That's not happening. That'll be interesting. I mean, maybe they could resign Ward if they wanted to, but I think that'll be interesting. That's my question above all.
It's
Hafunga
just
will be
hard.
here.
it's just hard with Jimmy Ward because he's going to want a 2 or 3 year deal,
And he
probably
gets hurt
3 year
a
deal.
lot.
Yeah,
He
he's
gets
been out
hurt
a
a
lot this
lot.
season. Yeah, a couple of seasons there where he only missed 2 or 3 games, but he's never had a season where he didn't miss any games. And he's obviously had a lot where he's had broken bones and whatnot. So
Remember when Grant asked if they needed to drink more milk?
yeah, no, he was right on. It was vitamin D deficiency, and he started taking supplements, and the broken bones went away for the most part. So that's I think Grant was right on that one.
Grant was trying to
Um,
be facetious, but I think he ended up being right in the end. Or maybe he
yeah,
wasn't. I don't know.
yeah, it's happened quite a few times where players had vitamin D deficiencies from their diet, and once they corrected it, their brittleness went away right with that.
That's one thing I
Rick,
don't deal with. I have strong bones.
there you go.
I've taken some falls in my life and nothing's happened.
I had one broken bone in Pop Warner. Somebody put their helmet in the back of my calf and broke my fibula, not where Lance broke his down by the ankle, but much closer to the knee in the middle of my calf.
Jeez.
Oddly enough, yeah, it was very painful, especially it wasn't diagnosed properly. And so I kept playing for about a month with it. And every time I'd get hit, it would be just this shooting pain all up and down my leg. And finally got diagnosed as a cracked fibula that wasn't displaced, so it had mended right in place, and it was healed without a cast or anything like that. But
Interesting.
yeah, but not a lot of broken bones for me. They're knock on wood. Knock on here since I'm nearby. But let's see here. Got Rick saying shout out to the faithful across the country and the world. From the West, when the Lord and the South funnies go 49ers. Okay. And then Gina was saying, I love Ward. He's our longest tenured Niner. He is. If there's some way we could sign him cheaply, I would love it. And to not
He's
very
one
many
guy.
years.
He's one guy that I was hard on back in the day because I was so mad these guys were always getting hurt. But I just like Armstead. I've grown to like him a lot because they've stayed true and they've been here through all the badness and they've been here through the goodness too. So
Yeah, no doubt about it. Rick was asking if we should keep all the guys that we have for next season. I feel like that they should. I mean, there's a lot of guys. I think there's something like 30
the
people.
defensive line's going to have a lot of free agents this year. A lot
Yeah,
of free agents.
including Amenahu and Ebukam, Willis. Um, yeah, there's
If
a
I'm
lot.
them, I'm bringing back a lot of those guys. Why not? They're not going
If
to. A
we
lot of those guys aren't going to get top dollar because not of a lot of them have performed. I think Amenahu might be somebody that we might have a trouble. What am I speaking like that for? Have trouble retaining just because I think Amenahu's played pretty good. But none of those guys have really like blown up this year. Nobody's got a ton of sacks. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
Kerry
it's
Hyder
true.
that one year had a huge year, and then he went to Seattle after, and he took a step back.
Huge. About
Bosa's our
6 steps
biggest.
back.
Bosa's our biggest fish. Nothing happens until Bosa is re-signed. Bosa's going to take the whole freaking Brinks truck and then some because he is the defensive player of the year, and it's not even close. And I know there's 2 games to go, but I don't care. So that's your Rick. If I'm anything, I worry about that guy first. And a lot of those guys, I think, are going to be affordable. I don't think the Niners will have a high. I mean, it's not like they're going to be like the Rams and only have a top heavy depth chart, and then you go to guys who have that are like 7th round or practice squad guys on their defensive line. So
I agree 100%. Raphael was saying Ward
yep,
declined a contract with the Raiders for more money. Glad he's
yep.
still a Niner still.
In
Yeah,
2020, they
Ward's been
offered him and he
huge.
stayed because well, we were going on that whole we were doing we're going to go back to the Super Bowl year. Remember before everybody got hurt? It was
Yep.
the Quest for Six Part 2 or whatever it was called. Run It Back. I forgot the name. It was like a trending thing with 49er fans. But yeah, I'm not really worried, to be honest with you, because we have free agency next year.
The
and then we're also
revenge
going to
tour.
yeah, it was the revenge tour, and then we're going to have possibly another 2 third rounders coming into the fray on top of the ones. So don't be surprised if the Niners package some picks because the Niners don't have a lot of roster holes. If you think about it, they don't have a lot of roster holes.
Did the Bengals? They franchise tagged their safety, didn't they?
I'm not sure.
Um, I'm blanking
2020
on his
was our
name.
wheelchair season.
Oh man, that was the worst, the most injured team since
That's when
2012.
we
The
changed our
Niners were
logo
like
officially
2022.
to the Niners logo to a wheelchair.
Yeah. Raphael was saying, I think D'Amico will take some of the D line. He also said something about Jimmy Ward. I thought, I guess maybe some of the D linemen too.
That's a
Yeah,
good
no,
point. That's a good
D'Amico will
point. I didn't
take
even think about
some.
that.
Sala will probably take some. Uh, there's a lot. Even Mike McDaniel too. Don't forget him.
They
There's a
might,
lot.
but then again, where would you rather go? Do you want to stay on the West Coast and be a chance to be a part of another Super Bowl deep run team? Or are you going to go to a team that might not? I don't know about you guys, but if I have a chance to play on the West Coast or the East Coast and the Niners are a better team, those two things keep me on the West Coast, even if I have to pay higher property tax because you say it, but then when you have to play in the cold, you can be playing in Levi's instead. I mean, I don't know. But that's just me. I wish I could move to the West Coast.
The West Coast is nice. The weather's nice, but the taxes are brutal. And I always say I don't mind paying taxes as long as like I'm getting something in return for them. But I feel like in California, we pay a lot of taxes and we don't, we don't have good schools, we don't have good roads.
Yeah, we have
Uh,
that in the East Coast. East Coast, a lot of things are like the infrastructure on like highways and stuff. It's so bad. It's so bad. It's I guess that's around the country. That's the one thing I will say. And do not get angry at me. When the other guy was in office, that was one thing he was shooting for. And that's all I will say. He was shooting to get the infrastructure and the roads better in the United States. That's all I'm saying. And now that
I
doesn't.
steer clear of politics on here. So,
Yeah, I shouldn't have said it.
no, that's okay.
Let me just say the
Personally, I don't.
administration was higher on that
Yeah,
as
no,
a thing now than the newer administration.
and it's not like
There goes massive
when I had the
unsubs.
misstep with you on one of our more recent shows.
Yeah,
No, I'm not worried about you
there
talking about it. I'm
now
just
we're
saying I
even.
don't, and feel free. I just feel like both parties are corrupt, really, honestly, and neither one of them gives
Politics
a
are
damn
corrupt
about
in
us.
general.
Yeah, they care about as much as us for us as like a farmer cares about some cattle or
When you
sheep
got
or
the
something.
people in Congress who make 6 figures a year or more
Oh yeah,
voting down a bill for minimum wage to be $17 an hour.
with killer health care and
Yeah, like it's to me, it's
pensions
just
and
like really.
yeah, they're so
Anyways, I'm
disconnected.
just gonna stop.
Yeah,
Sorry, everybody.
that's all right. We can like I said, I won't get involved with either side. I don't like either of them to be honest with you.
Same.
Um, so Gino's saying I don't know why the FO. Sorry, come on, you can do this. Loves keeping the injured guys around. Yeah, I think part of it, Gina, is that when you
Familiarity
have
sometimes.
sometimes it's like, hey, we got the Super Bowl roster, and like, yeah, we really want someone who's reliable. And for whatever the price ranges we have for that spot, the reliable guy, won't make the team, and so like, or won't contribute won't make the team better. Whereas you could get someone who's injured some and they're a little bit better deal because of that, and they can play at a really high level when they're not injured. And that's how you get these peak levels where the team, you get it where everybody's healthy together and we play at this incredible level. But there are times where even this season where lots of guys were out. The lucky thing this season, most of the guys that were out came back.
And we've
Um,
had our depth this
Unlike
season.
2020, because in
Right.
2020 we had lots of guys with ACLs and Jimmy multiple ankles and where they went out and they stayed out.
The Niners roster this year too is a lot deeper than it's been in the past. like top to bottom. Secondary, the Niners, a lot of us question why do the Niners keep drafting running backs or over addressing running backs? And every single year we have massive injuries at the running back position, massive injuries in the secondary. You can never have enough players at any position, especially with this team, because we just play a different brand of football. People hate playing us because we're physical, but it also takes a toll on the players that we have on our team. I think to Gina's, was it Gina that asked about why they keep people around? As long
Yeah.
as you don't have a roster full of those guys, like in 2019, I thought we had a lot of guys that were always hurt. But like, if the core of your roster is built by guys who make every game and are playing every game all season, then bringing in a guy here or a guy there as depth or as an emergency piece that you're not counting on game to game, and maybe they have a little bit of an issue and you're getting him on a cheap deal, what you're doing is you're it's a low risk, high reward. You're paying very little, and you could possibly get really high rewards if they stay healthy. So it's a business decision. I mean, as if that was the case, it's not like Madden. You can't turn off the salary cap and sign every single person. So, but I've always been critical of this front office. But it seems like they're doing more due diligence. What's up? How you guys doing? They're doing more due diligence. I feel like the roster has gotten healthier over the last couple of years, but this team plays at a different level of physicality. This team's always going to have that problem. So, to be honest with you,
I love this comment from Raphael here.
Lake Mead in Nevada is going to get refilled after the Niners destroy the Raiders, and all their fan tiers who go to Lake Mead make. Oh my God! I don't know
That's
where Lake
awesome,
Mead is
Raphael.
because I'm a New Yorker.
It's this giant lake out just outside Las Vegas, and then it's where the Hoover Dam is what made Lake Mead, and then it goes through the Hoover Dam out, and then that's the Colorado River that flows all the way down out to eventually to the Pacific. So and lots and ends up being a water source for a lot of people along the way, and it's the water source for Vegas too. Lake Mead is the water source for Vegas, and the Colorado River is a lot of source for a lot of farms on the way out to Arizona and California. So just a funny comment, though. I hope there are lots of Raider tears. Nothing would make me happier except for Seahawks tears. That's about it.
Seahawks tears, Raiders tears, yeah, Cowboys tears.
And so we got looks like Jess from the East Coast Red and Gold podcast here. Assuming that's Jess here. Thanks for joining us.
Definitely.
Let's see here. I'm way behind on the comments, so I'm just trying to
That's
catch
okay.
up a little bit. Lake Mead is in a severe drought. Yeah, they've definitely, the lake is very low, as are a lot of lakes around in the west. There was a storm. The storm when I was driving out of the Sierras for the Bucks game, and I missed watching it live and listened to it on KNBR.com. That storm should have helped the drought in the west a little bit. It was a pretty big storm, but I think we probably need 5 or 10 like that to get fully out of the water crunch we're in currently. What else should we talk about?
We were pretty dry on the East Coast this year. Like we started
Really?
the fall, we started spring. It was really wet, and then the grass looked great. And I have issues with my front lawn. It looked really good for a couple of years, but I don't know what I did to it. I have all these patches now that I was trying to grow new grass in, and we had such a drought this year that dude, it was. I'm a lawn guy. I'm that dude. Okay, I'm gonna be like 65, 70 and yelling at kids. Only pretty girls are gonna be able to come near my lawn. Except for that, nobody else. But I'm just saying, like, I'm gonna be that guy. Get away, because I've been here 5 or 6 years and my lawn is still not where I want it to be. So
man.
I might be getting either some rolled grass and cut it to the shape of where I need it, or grass plugs and put them in those spots. Because I have spots on my lawn where the grass is just the seed doesn't take. But I have a lot of roots. I have a massive tree in my front lawn on the sidewalk side that I think puts a lot of roots underneath my lawn. I've aerated my lawn twice in a row and overseeded it twice in a row in the fall the last 2 years. So,
Oh man.
so
Wow.
to have it die on me this year, I was pretty depressed. Come home from work tired. Usually I come home and look at my grass and be like, yeah. This time it was just like, damn it. Every time.
Well, best of luck getting that going. It's key. A lot of people out here in the West are getting rid of the lawns. They're putting in AstroTurf or like these kind of like
People in
cactus type
Arizona just have
desert
dirt.
things. Yeah, it's wild. We still have a lawn at our house. How long it'll last? Those water bills are pretty
You were
atrocious.
asking what's left. I mean, we got a little bit of looking toward the Raiders game. They're not going to have their starting quarterback.
A couple other
I
guys out too.
think Chandler Jones is out.
He's on IR. Yeah, so he's
Yeah,
out.
so the Niners are
Out for the
playing a
season.
compromised Raiders team. This is again,
And Denzel Perriman too is a pretty good linebacker for them. Is out for the game for sure.
this is a game where I think trap game is written all over it, just because the Niners are they're flying really high. I don't think the Niners had the type of team that we have to worry about it, especially when you listen to Fred Warner in those post-game speeches and Trent Williams. They're very aware of that. But, you know, as fans, we always worry about trap. Me, it's just getting through these next 2 weeks healthy. Health. We're still in line for the 1 seed, technically, Ted.
Yep.
Because they're compromised right now, the Eagles. They don't have their starting quarterback.
No Hurts. No, not only that, but Lane Johnson, their star right tackle, and then Avonte Maddox, who's a stud safety for them, has a pretty serious toe injury. It sounds like I saw him walk off with the front of his sock cut off and his toe sticking out as he was hobbling off to the locker room during
toe
the Cowboy.
Injuries are so bad. They're worse sometimes than ankle injuries, because if you like, that's pretty much what ended Deion's career.
Deion, I think he had some of them removed not too long ago.
Yeah, he had issues with some circulation with his feet. He had a couple, and they said a lot of it stemmed from the major turf toe he had at the end of his career. It's pretty much what ended it for him.
And then was Willis? He wasn't toe; he was more foot, right?
Yeah, Willis had foot issues.
Foot, okay. Yeah.
So there's
still
that
serious stuff.
There's
so the Eagles are looking more beatable, no doubt about it.
And it's weird. We want Minnesota to lose, but I don't want the Packers to win. So I'm in this like weird mental state where it's like, do I want to face the Green Bay Packers again? Now, here's the thing. We're going to have at least one home game, right? Because we have top 4 seeds. So, and it looks like it's going to be an NFC East team. It could be the Giants.
That's who it is as of today.
That's what a lot of us want. Listen, guys, I'm not saying the Giants are scrubs, but if the Niners can't beat the Giants in a wild card round, they probably shouldn't be going anywhere this year in the playoffs. Because the Niners are head and shoulders better than that team, top to bottom. You could say Purdy's a better quarterback than Danny Dimes. And Danny Dimes has played pretty well this year. So, but let's not talk about that. We still got 2 more weeks. To me, with the Raiders, this is just another game of just trying to get out healthy. Don't reinvent the wheel. Hopefully the defense can tighten it up a little bit. You know, the defense has had some games where they've gotten lucky where they faced teams that are a little compromised on offense and have been able to kind of go to town on them. Hopefully that's the case with this game. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Oh, Willis was a toe? I always thought he had it. What?
I don't remember. I just knew it was somewhere in the foot or toe. I thought foot, just like that's why I said it. But if somebody has looked it up, then I'll defer to them.
I've never been to a 49ers game, guys, in my life. But I live in Rochester, New York, so it's not exactly a hop, skip, and a jump to California. It takes a while. And I've never flown, so I really don't want to go to a Bills game and watch the Niners in Buffalo.
You could just hop on a bus like Madden, dude.
Yeah, but I'm not cool like Madden or rich like Madden. So
you don't have the Madden Cruiser like Madden.
No,
yeah.
I'm a big guy. I can't sit in a little chair for 15 hours.
It helps when it's your own bus, right?
Yeah.
Compared to like Greyhound with who knows on there. I didn't realize that you'd never fly. Wow.
Never flew.
So you can kill two birds with one stone then when we fly you out for a Niners game. It's
Someone is gonna have to pay for me to come out.
two
Like
things to scratch off that list.
my uncle and aunt live in Mission Viejo, California.
Southern California, yeah.
So, I mean, I could technically stay there, but then I would still have to have. I mean, how
Still
far
have to
away is Mission?
fly. It's too far.
Yeah, so
It
I would
doesn't
have
do you
to.
much good.
It would definitely have to be. I wouldn't go alone. I'd have to go. My nephew's a 49ers fan. Me and him
Now what you
are.
got to do is come stay at the at the Hilton, and just like Jess
Why
does
don't I
when she
just stay at
comes out,
Casa La
hook
Ted's?
up. Yeah, Casa La Ted's. We have an extra room. Sure, come on down. But I was saying I've always wanted to like quote unquote travel to a game at Levi's, even though I'm local. I always wanted to like go and hang out at the Hilton the way Jess does from East Coast Red and Gold podcast. And you see her all the time getting pictures with Kittle and all the players and coaches and everything. And
I would have to
it
do
looks
that. I'd
like
have
so
to
much
get in
fun.
contact. I would have to get in contact if people from the East Coast were making their way out there, depending on what game it is, and stay at the same place. Like you said, Jess from East Coast Red and Gold podcast. I'd have to kind of somehow not collaborate, but correspond with people. So if I go out there, I'm like, okay, I'm looking for you. Hold up a sign that says East Coast Red and Gold, and I'll be like, I'm First Takes, hey, and then we get out there.
No doubt about it.
I mean,
Hey,
I can. Oh, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say Steve O Supremo in the chat saying hi.
Uh,
Uh, I did have a question for you, though. I know we're starting to get short on time here. I know you probably need to get some dinner in you. We've got Debo maybe back for this game, and we got Elijah Mitchell coming back soon. Are you a rest them till the playoffs type of person, or do you want
yep.
to? Yeah, you are. And
Well,
and I kind of
what are you gaining?
well, I
Debo's
think
been hurt.
game shape. Ideally, Debo really hasn't
Yeah,
been in
that's
shape all
true.
season,
That's
and Elijah
true.
Mitchell's been
Elijah
out,
Mitchell,
especially Elijah Mitchell.
I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole until the playoffs.
I mean, if it's me, I don't even know if I use my IR return on him just because he's so fragile. I'd almost rather bring back Givens or Ridgeway
They're going to
or.
have a decision with him.
I mean, I'm still holding out hope for Trey Lance. We still have one shot for Trey, baby. I know it's not going to happen, but I
We'll
will
probably see Jimmy more than we'll
continue.
see Trey.
I will continue. Yeah, because he never went on IR, but I will continue to bang that drum until it's physically impossible to bring
Right.
anybody else back from
I'm
IR.
big on the Kevin Givens thing too. I'm hoping to see him.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
weird that the Niners have had a lot of injuries this year, but not other than the cornerback position with Emmanuel Mosley and Verrett, and not a lot of
mhm,
our injuries have been season ending. We've kind of
yeah,
it's that's why I say, and I don't believe in curses, or I don't believe in karma or any of that stuff, but I do believe that sometimes things just roll your way. And that's what it's kind of been this year. It's like it's if we're gonna win a Super Bowl, this is the year, or if we're gonna have a deep playoff run. I mean, just everything is rolled our way. Playing teams that are all beat up and we get the worst of them. Playing games where we get the best of the calls and the turnovers don't go our way or go against us. And it's been one of those crazy seasons so far. So sometimes you need a little bit of luck. People say, I don't need any luck. Everybody needs a little luck. So,
yeah, no.
yeah,
And
save
Jess was
Mitchell
saying
for the playoffs.
Ridgeway won't be ready. Mitchell saved for playoffs, and then she said keep Debo on a pitch count. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if it, I know Kyle won't do this, but if it's me, I would treat these last two games almost like preseason games. I'd play the starters for a few series, maybe a quarter, and especially the starters and superstars and stars and then you obviously can't pull all the starters because there's just not enough people on a 53-man roster, but I
Did you
would
rest
get most
Bosa
of most of the impact guys.
a little
Yeah,
bit?
Bosa, Trent Williams. The tough one though is Brock Purdy because he needs the experience, and then you don't want to take away his blindside tackle where you increase his risk of getting injured. So it is tricky, and I just know Kyle won't do it, so I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about it. But if it's me, I would treat it more like preseason games. I think we still can beat both of these teams without playing our starters for the whole game. but we'll
East
see.
Coast Red and Gold just put up their the most recent comment. She said that it's hard to rest. He said it's hard to rest players when they've been playing all year. They're going to monitor. Yeah, that's the best you can do. Um, what about a Kalia Davis? Do you think there's a chance we see him, or is that
Somebody in the chat earlier had said, we'd see him next year. We might see him this year. He's NFI, non-football injury, because he was injured in college, so he doesn't count as an IR return. So he could be back at any time, including these last two games and
and he's an
including the
interior
playoff.
pass rusher?
He is. He
Yeah,
is. He's a lot like DJ Jones.
they could
Very
totally use
similar.
that.
Very similar
You know,
build.
the
Just
league
DJ
has
Jones.
the league has no tape on him. He could come in
Yeah.
the playoffs and just go to town.
Yeah, no, DJ Jones just a little bit better of a run stuffer. Kalia Davis a little bit better of a pass rusher, but they're both like kind of like 6 footish, 300 pounds ish. Very similar combine measurements. Both very quick twitch, get off the ball, get into the opponent's backfield quickly, and make plays there. So should be interesting.
So it'd be interesting. Looking forward to the
Thanks for
game.
stopping by, Jess.
Thanks everybody. That's been nice. Pretty active chat today.
Very active. I couldn't keep up with half of it, especially
That's good.
being on a touch mouse on a laptop. I can barely, like, when I put the chats up, I can barely read them under our overlay. I have to read them in the chats themselves. And then for some reason they're like, I'm hitting them, they're coming up, then they're disappearing, and I have to hit them again. So
How
my
old is the
apology, everybody,
laptop
if
you
it's
got?
been a choppy show. It's not old. It's just I have a laser mouse. It's just I'm on a glass table, and I didn't think it out far enough to get like a mouse pad ready or a
Right.
magazine or something,
See, I
which
use
is
my
what I should
MacBook
have done.
Pro and it works fine. At some point, I probably want to get a desktop down here and get another monitor or two down the road, just so like I can do a lot more stuff. Maybe have a
Yeah.
different angle of my ugly big ass
Well,
sitting in the
that's
chair.
it. When I'm at home, I have a massive monitor, so like I can see our faces much more clearly. I can see all the text much more clearly.
Yeah,
It's way easier to coordinate a show with the big screen than on this little. I mean, this is like a 15-inch monitor on my laptop, so it's teeny tiny.
yeah, it's
But
pretty
hey,
small on mine too.
think we're almost all the way through. So we talked about the NFC. Um, don't want the Vikings to win. Don't want the Packers to win either. I think the Vikings are a little better than a lot of people are giving them credit for,
There's a lot
because
of
they
people
had
under
Christian
them
Derrick.
saying that they're easy to beat,
Yeah, I
and
think a
I
lot of
don't
people,
think that they're a lot.
they've won the most one-score games this season, and I think that takes talent.
Yeah, they're
Lots
never
are
out of it.
more, but one-score wins are pretty impressive too,
Hmm.
because it's any little mistake and you're toast. And they were missing Christian Darrisaw for a while, their star left tackle, and now he's back, and I think that really has helped them. And obviously, they picked up Hawkinson, who's a hell of a tight end, to go with Jefferson and Thielen, and they already had Dalvin Cook in the backfield. So their defense maybe leaves a little to be desired, but if you score enough, as the Chiefs showed us, that can be overcome.
That's right.
And then, as far as the AFC goes, I was starting to think the Bengals were going to be my team that I was starting to worry the most about, since they beat the Chiefs. They're the second hottest team in the league after us on a 7-game win streak versus our 8-game win streak. But then they lost Lyle Collins, their right tackle, last week, so that's going to hurt. And then I don't know if you saw this, but I saw yesterday or today, Whitworth, Andrew Whitworth, was saying he might come out of retirement to go play tackle for the Bengals. I'm just like, holy smokes, that's out of random. But that would be super helpful. I think he'd be better than Lyle Collins, the guy they lost.
Could
So
you really do that after not doing anything all year? That would be strange.
it's odd, but yeah, I mean, if he's kept in shape, who knows? Who knows? And then, I think the Chiefs are starting to look beatable. They struggled against the Texans. Um, they struggled the week before that. It'll be interesting to see. The Bills obviously are missing Von Miller. And they don't have a great run game or a great run defense, and I think those are two really important things for the playoffs. Uh, obviously they have Josh Allen, who's
So I'm kind of pulling for a
megastar.
49ers Bengals Super Bowl.
Make it 3-0 against
3-0,
them, and
yeah.
just just crush their dreams again. Make them runner up only to the Bills for Super Bowl futility. I
Yeah.
wonder if the NFL would allow that to happen. I kind of worry about that. You always
Yeah,
wonder
they'd
about
rig the game. They're like, "No, the Niners
yeah,
are gonna go over 3 in their last 3 attempts."
yeah. I think they'd rather have that than the Bengals go 0 for 3 lifetime. It'd be interesting to see. It'd be interesting to see. But at least I could root against the Bengals more than I could root. The Bills, I definitely like the Bills team. I like Josh Allen, so I don't want to face them just because I don't want to have to root against them.
Right.
But the Chiefs would be great because f the Chiefs, man. I just still can't stand them. They're like one of my least favorite teams after the Seattle Seahawks. So
Yeah, I agree. One of the thing too is we just cannot beat them. They just offensively are.
yeah. Although, that game earlier this season, we had a lot of guys injured, a lot of guys that were quote unquote back, but, were still injured and weren't 100%. Dre went out early in that game. I mean, Jimmy Ward was playing with the club on his hand, and his first game back where he wasn't in game shape. And, the list goes on and on. Bosa, Trent Williams, McGlinchey. And then obviously Eric Armstead wasn't back yet at that
And
point.
we didn't have Javon Kinlaw either.
No, and Kinlaw wasn't back either.
Yeah.
So it would be a lot different this time. Let's just say that. I think I don't. There's no team that I really sweat if we're playing. If we're healthy and
Yep.
hot like we've been. I mean, we can beat anybody. So
True.
period.
I agree. End of story.
Period. Raphael asks, "Will Kinlaw still be limited?" I think so. I think he had something like 17 snaps, or was it 13?
16.
16. Okay, somewhere right in there against
Sorry.
the Commanders. That's all right. No. I always want to spread. I never want to spread bad info, so don't ever feel bad correcting me if you know something I said is wrong.
I think it's
Definitely.
16. I'm pretty sure that's what they said.
Yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood, in the mid-teens. So maybe he'll play some more against the Raiders, maybe in the 20s. But yeah, I doubt he'd play more than 30 or like 60. He was sort of a low average for a game. So um, I think most of our stars, I think, hopefully won't be playing a lot versus the Raiders. Ideally.
Yeah, they said somebody said Mitch Winowski's sick. I heard Bosa was sick too. He was
Hmm.
ill. There's some bug going around the 49ers.
That happened to the Cowboys last week or 2 weeks ago when they almost lost to who was it? The Texans. I think they had a bunch of guys out injured, and then quite a few more that were out sick as well too. Well, I know I've kept you a while here, Aaron. Should we maybe put a wrap on things, call it
Yeah.
quits for this week? I just want to encourage everybody to hit like and subscribe, both for TED Talks Ball and 49ers First Takes.
Yeah.
And thanks everybody for showing up today. We appreciate all the support.
Definitely.
And we'll be back at you. Okay. I will be flying home on the 4th, which is a week from today, January 4th. So I think we're talking about Thursday, January the 5th, same time, 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern. And then we should be back to our usual
Yep.
Wednesdays
And
moving forward.
we'll be on my channel next week, next Thursday, if everything goes as planned,
Yep.
Yep.
And then anything else you got going on? I don't have anything else going on. This is my only show I'm doing while I'm away. And you could see why if you're here earlier, you heard the baby crying and me like psycho texting my wife.
He was, I've never seen Ted. See, that's the energy. That's the Ted's face when he's texting on Twitter. We need to have that on the show sometimes. I was like, whoa, I've never seen him get hot.
Get back here now.
What was I going to say? I totally forgot. I have a Wolf from Wolfcast 49ers. I always forget the name of his show. I feel so bad. He will be on my channel Friday along with Beto. It used to be just me and Amin, but Amin's a student. He's gonna be on vacation with his family. I had Rich Keltz, but people have families and kids, and I understand that. So I've been doing my due diligence to at least have 2 to 3 people. A Niner Gang Wolfcast. Thank you. I'm such a jerk. Dude's gonna be like, "You have me on your channel. I don't even know the name of mine." Yeah, he'll be with me and Beto this Friday. We'll talk Raiders. Just a celebration of being happy that the Niners are doing well this year. That's kind of I've tried to be more positive this year and stop living in the what ifs and then what about next year and this guy and are we going to be able to have Trey Lance? And then it's just like, dude, we're in the midst of a possibly special year. So yeah, definitely going to do that Friday with those guys. And then it's pretty much a repeat of NWO Monday. Me and Ted, instead of Wednesday, it'll be Thursday next week. And then again, next Friday, the repeat of this Friday. So yeah, I'm until the season's over, I'm going to try to have at least, 3 shows a week. I'm thinking about doing a massive like post season panel wrap up show where I have multiple people from different streams and we just talk about the season and commiserate if we lose or something. But yeah, that's kind of it for that. Oh, he says that Wolf is on tonight with Bashar at 7, so 10 o'clock my time. I'll definitely have to check that out. I'm gonna go pester Bashar in the chat. We have a lot of inside jokes that we like to talk to each other to make each other lose composure on stream. You know a lot what I'm talking about. Anywho, everybody.
Peace. Thanks, everybody.
Everybody have a good one.
Bye-bye now.